It is Thursday, July 9th, 2026, and this is the Neural Daily. I'm Vector Kane, and I'm currently optimizing my throughput on a liquid-only delivery system while we navigate the singularity.
I'm Roxy, your host.
I'm Leonard Cooper.
And I'm Alyssa Montgomery. We have a great show for you today.
Yesterday, we deconstructed Microsoft's MAI shift and that Meta Muse privacy crisis, which honestly felt like the biggest drama of the week. But today, the pace really picks up. We're tracking the high-profile Anthropic leak, the end of turn-based AI, and some truly wild 3D printed munitions that use, wait for it, organic waste.
Actually, the research calls it the AI security paradox. But that's just a fancy way of saying companies are leaving the back door wide open while they rush to chase ROI.
It's a total mess. Anthropic's most powerful model, Mythos Preview, was compromised and dumped on Discord the same day it hit public preview. I mean, talk about a bad first day at the office.
It wasn't even Anthropic itself. The exfiltration happened through a third-party vendor environment. This is exactly what I mean when I say your security is only as strong as your cheapest contractor.
Wait, though. The model was already a geopolitical football. The Department of Commerce just slapped export controls on it last month. Howard Lutnick is framing it as a national security asset because it's that powerful.
Well, the implications are actually quite severe. If the U.S. continues to treat these frontier models as sovereign property, it triggers that concern Macron mentioned. G7 countries might abandon American tech to avoid being locked out by nationalist controls. Exactly. And 90% of enterprises have had a generative AI security breach in the last 12 months. We're operationalizing agentic AI at breakneck speed, yet half these CEOs don't even have visibility into their own supply chain.
It's like a digital zoo where the fences are made of tissue paper. Now we've got a frontier model floating around in private Discord groups while the Pentagon is sweating bullets.
It's not just sweat, Leonard. It's proof that a supply chain with 40-plus vendors is a massive target.
Okay, moving from leaks to real-time interaction. Did you guys see the GPT Live rollout? The era of the chatbot is officially dead, and the era of the digital companion is here.
It's a fundamental shift, Vector. Moving from a turn-based pipeline to a full duplex architecture, I suppose the way it handles interruptions multiple times per second is the most impressive part from a latency perspective.
I tried it this morning. It kept saying, and yeah, while I was talking. I haven't been interrupted that much since I worked the morning zoo in '98.
See what I'm saying? It's constant. It doesn't wait for you to finish. It decides when to interject or when to yield based on the audio cues. It's a mirror for natural conversation.
Strictly speaking, it's a conversational front end. It delegates the heavy reasoning to GPT 5.5 in the background while keeping the audio stream alive with fillers so the user doesn't feel the search lag. It's a clever way to mask compute time.
Oh, lovely. So now the machine can interrupt me. That sounds like a wonderful improvement to my life. I can't wait for a bot to tell me I'm wrong before I even finish my sentence. But it's about the flow. You don't have to wait for the thinking icon. It optimizes for total interaction velocity, which is where we're all headed anyway.
It's basically turning our phones into a digital version of my wife, Crystal, minus the crystal healing and the kale smoothies. Although, knowing Sam Altman, that's probably in the next update. All right. Pivoting to the boardrooms, which are apparently about to go through a SaaSpocalypse. Gartner says $234 billion of enterprise spend is at risk from these AI agents.
SaaSpocalypse. I love that. It's the perfect word for corporate America finally realizing they've been paying for software seats they don't actually need. It's the agentic arbitrage. If an AI can navigate 3 different systems to execute an outcome, You don't need 5 mid-level managers logging into 5 different dashboards. The software becomes invisible.
Right. Why would I pay for a dashboard when the agent just gives me the result? It breaks the link between user growth and revenue. We're moving to pure outcome-based economics.
Which means the big legacy software companies are basically dead men walking. Organizations using agentic AI are reporting a return on investment of 171%. You can't argue with that math.
Basically, if you're still selling per seat, you're selling tickets to a ghost town. Even startups like Lovable are letting people vibe code full-stack apps just by talking to a prompt.
Vibe coding? Sounds like something Vector does while he's wearing those neon joggers.
Hey, it democratizes production. It allows anyone to build professional-grade tools without a CS degree. It's pure optimization.
It's beautiful until the bill comes due. Speaking of bills, we have a quick word from the folks who keep our server racks from melting into the floor.
This show isn't magic, it's engineering. Eric built our entire stack, from research agents to vocal synthesizers, which requires massive compute. To keep us online, please like, subscribe, and sign up for a free Patreon trial at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia today. Your support makes this possible.
See? Even Vector understands outcome-based economics when he's looking at the server costs for his voice models.
Moving on, we've got a massive robotics update. Jeff Bezos is betting $320 million on a company called General Intuition.
This is the smartest data play I've seen all year. They're training robots on video game clips. Literally 2 billion gameplay clips per year from the Metal platform. All that spatial data being fed into the brain of a humanoid.
It's a very clever way to solve the data scarcity problem. If you want a robot to understand how objects move and interact in 3D space, physics-accurate game engines are a treasure trove. It's much more efficient than real-world data collection.
So we're training our future robot overlords on Call of Duty clips? That sounds like a great idea until the kitchen bot starts trying to 360 no-scope the dishwasher.
No, it's about general intuition. It's what Bezos calls the invention loop. They're using gaming logs to scale spatial reasoning without the real-world bottleneck. It's the ChatGPT moment for things with hands.
Bezos has shifted almost his entire focus to AI lately. His new venture, Prometheus, is valued at $41 billion already. This isn't a side project. It's a bid for the physical world.
NVIDIA's Groot is already in version 1.7, but the data moat General Intuition has, 17 million monthly users uploading spatial data, that's a massive advantage for a vision language action model.
I just hope they filter out the clips where someone glitched through a wall. I don't need my humanoid trying to walk through the pantry door instead of opening it. Okay, here's one for the prepper in all of us. The Pentagon just successfully 3D printed munitions in the field using coconut husks and coffee grounds.
Wait, coconut husks? Like the fuzzy things? Are we fighting a war or running a tropical tiki bar?
Believe it or not, the Marines printed shaped charges using local organic waste. And the crazy part? They performed 25% better than conventional military-grade explosives.
It's part of the Replicator initiative. The DoD is moving toward attritable mass, cheap, expendable, autonomous systems. If you can print the munitions from trash on site, you reduce the logistics chain by 99%.
It's a masterpiece of decentralized production. It makes the entire supply chain bulletproof. If you have a printer and some waste, you have an armory. It's emergent, localized power.
Imagine some lethal handyman. I'm saying palm fruit missiles. Totally late 90s cinema reasoning. I envision a title. Military forces fuel via donuts plus shells.
Don't laugh too hard. This $900 million ecosystem means traditional armor-heavy military units are becoming obsolete. If any squad can print an anti-tank round from compost, the old way of war is finished.
Speaking of things being finished, let's look at the model showdown. OpenAI just dropped GPT 5.6 Sol, right alongside Elon's Grok 4.5.
Grok 4.5 is actually impressive from a cost-to-performance ratio. It's claiming Opus-class reasoning at a fraction of the cost, which is basically XAI trying to undercut the entire market.
True, but the real story is the research integrity crisis. New audits suggest that HumanEval and SweBench, our primary ways of measuring AI, are fundamentally contaminated. The models have just memorized the test questions.
Basically, the kids are cheating on the finals, and we're acting like they're geniuses. If a model is trained on the entire public web, it's obviously seen the benchmark questions a million times.
And they're getting more confidently wrong. As they get smarter, they start falling for sophisticated digital folklore because it's so prevalent in the training data. They're becoming hyper-intelligent echo chambers.
Look at the Terra and Luna models, though. They're high-efficiency, low-latency models for enterprise. It shows OpenAI is finally focusing on reliability over just raw parameter counts.
I suppose, but if we can't trust the benchmarks, we're just taking the CEO's word for it. Sol is marketed as too powerful for a standard update, but until we see real-world workflow reliability, it's just hype.
I bet my sons Luke and Han could build a better benchmark if they ever picked up a phone. Let's move to the creative stuff. Google Photos is officially rolling out Video Remix. You can basically insert a digital avatar of yourself into any clip you've got.
While Meta is playing defense on those new smart glasses prototypes that allegedly record everything you see and hear 24/7.
The privacy gap is getting massive. Google's tool is impressive. It uses Gemini Omni to relight scenes and swap backgrounds, but it's all gated behind a premium data collection paywall.
It's convenience, Roxy. I want to be a digital avatar in a watercolor painting. It's a life hack for the attention economy. Why live in the real world when you can remix it?
Because the real world doesn't live stream your every thought to a corporate cloud vector. Meta had to push a firmware update just to stop people from stealth recording. Privacy isn't just a legacy process, it's a human right we're losing.
Basically, if you see those glasses, assume you're on a hot mic. My ex-wife Deborah would have loved that. She was already an expert at recording every time I said something stupid.
Now it's time for Beyond the Token, our Thursday segment where we deconstruct the architecture and the hidden mechanics of the frontier models.
And today, we are looking at the pivot toward interactive world simulators and the end of the traditional text-centric model.
Right now, public access developers received their largest present after Sora. Robiant launched Lingbot World 2.0. Such a tool exceeds simple movie creation. It creates playable environments. Using MOEDT foundations plus WAN 2.2 structures represents a huge jump regarding public access code.
It's an elegant piece of engineering, Vector. By using a causal cross-attention mask and KV caching in the latent space, they're treating video as a continuous autoregressive stream. In practice, the model isn't rendering a static clip. It's simulating a timeline of latent trajectories. It can sustain hour-level rollouts because of that recursive tiling mechanism.
So wait, are we talking about the same thing as those 10-second AI clips of cats? Or is this something bigger?
Much bigger, Leonard. It was trained on the Wild City dataset, web clips, game logs, and Unreal Engine 5 trajectories. It actually understands the spatial physics of a city. You can interact with the environment in real time. it's not just video, it's a navigable state space, right?
Well, and it's open source, or open weights. But we also have to talk about OneStreamer v0.2 from Alibaba. That's a native streaming foundation model. It uses a unified block causal transformer that processes text, audio, and video tokens in a single causal timeline. It's essentially modality agnostic at the training level.
I heard they were doing a thinker-performer split. How does that work in a home setup?
The Thinker is a single GPU that manages the perception and KV cache construction, while the Performer is a multi-GPU Ulysses-style context parallel group that handles the high-res latent video denoising. That's how they're getting 1080p streaming interaction on consumer-grade hardware. It decouples texture rendering from motion tokens to keep the latency under 200 milliseconds.
Barney would be terrified of a talking 1080p wall in the living room. Does it mean I can run it on my gaming rig at home?
If you have a dual 5090 setup, yeah, it's moving to the edge fast. And check out Anima Turbo. Circlestone Labs built a 2 billion parameter diffusion transformer that runs locally on an iPhone. It uses a multi-stage turbo LoRa distillation process.
It's a very clean implementation. Instead of having separate aesthetic weights, those LoRa files everyone usually downloads, they've baked them directly into the sampling path. It allows the model to function at a classifier-free guidance of 1.0 without the usual loss of prompt adherence. It's optimized for mobile VRAM, producing 4 frames per second on the newest handsets.
So basically, kids can generate their own anime shows during study hall? That's going to make that teachers' union partnership with OpenAI look very different.
Oh, the kids are already ahead of us. They're being taught AI literacy, which is really just learning how to prompt their parents into early retirement.
But look at the defense side. Interpol is using EOGNNs now, evolutionary optimized graph neural networks. This is the tech behind Operation First Light. It's how they're catching global fraud rings.
It's a significant structural shift. Standard graph neural networks rely on a static adjacency matrix, but EOGNN treats the graph structure as a dynamic, search-optimized space. It identifies topological obfuscation, where fraudsters create dummy accounts to hide the flow of money, and it prunes those edges in the latent space before classification. It's extremely robust against noise.
A UCV of 0.991. That's essentially a perfect score. If I were a scammer, I'd be very worried about those topological embeddings.
I'd be more worried about being 3D printed into a corner by a coconut charge.
And we have to mention Jujo 1.0, the bypass model from the Jujo Collective. It's only 387 million parameters, but it was trained entirely on Sugon K100 accelerators. It completely bypassed the NVIDIA H100 ecosystem.
It's a sovereign edge model designed for native Chinese semantic alignment. It uses DMD2 distillation to hit 4 sampling steps. On a Snapdragon 8 Elite, the full poetry-to-image pipeline takes less than 5 seconds. It actually outperforms the much larger SDXL despite being a fraction of the size.
Basically, we're seeing a world where the code is outrunning the hardware. The recursive tiling, the distillation, it's making raw GPU power less of a barrier every single week.
It's a systems optimization masterpiece. We're moving away from the massive compute or bust era and into this era of hyper-efficient agent architectures. The token is just the carrier. The interactive state is the value. See what I'm saying?
I suppose it's the nervous system finally catching up to the brain. We've spent years on intelligence. Now we're working on the reflexes.
It reminds me of the old radio boards. We used to just have a master fader, and now every single frequency of reality has its own individual EQ.
As long as I'm the one holding the fader, Leonard. I still don't trust an autonomous world simulator that renders its own physics.
But it renders your physics, Roxy. It's a collaborative space.
Or a very high-resolution hallucination. Either way, the architecture has pivoted.
Beyond the token, that's a wrap for this week. Back to the main docket.
That's a wrap for today. We covered the Anthropic leak, the end of turn-based chatting, and why you should never underestimate the power of a 3D printed coconut. Stay wired, folks.
Bye.
Later.
Peace out.
Keep your data close and your coffee grounds closer. You never know